Hey y'all! Once again, we are here with some quarantine workout tips. Bobo's here too, obviously, making his almost daily appearance on these videos. So thank y'all for tuning in. Today what I wanted to do is share a little circuit that I put together that's part of I think last week I tried to put it out there as a link on Train Heroic, a free little 5-day feel-good, bulletproofing, whatever you want to call it, program that I had some trouble like getting it linked up with a promo code so that people could get it for free. Anyway, long story short, what I'm doing now is I'm putting it together as a PDF, and we're going to be releasing it, I believe, this next week. So stay tuned for that. I'll make sure to have the link and everything. It's free. But this is a simple sequence that we're going to go through today for hip mobility, working on some stability too, just basically kind of getting things moving in a little bit better way, because I know a lot of us are doing a lot more sitting around at home and stuff like that. So with the free program, kind of each day hits a little bit of a different focus. So hips is one day, there's T-spine and upper back on another day, we work on ankle mobility on another day. So hopefully y'all will take advantage of snagging that and put it to good use. So what I found in my golly, I've been doing this for a long time, but what I've found and what's well known in my profession is that people tend to have hip mobility issues, as well as limitations in their ability to move through the T-spine, because we do a lot of sitting. So it's not just because of the pandemic and us being quarantined right now that people are having problems. This is stuff that I work with on a regular basis with my clients. And it's one of those things too where if you're having to do a lot of work on this stuff every single stinking day and it's not getting better, then there's a reason for that. So you're either doing too much of something that's, again, sitting or whatever, and it's hard to overcome it with corrective work, or your workout program is maybe like not giving you as much benefit maybe in terms of helping you improve how you move and stuff. So this stuff should make you feel good. It's nothing that's going to be like fatiguing, okay? And it shouldn't make you sore. So I've got it written down on the board. We'll kind of pan over to it at the end. Maybe I can also shoot a screenshot of it. But again, this is going to be released soon. So what we're going to do is start off with an exercise that's called Crocodile Breathing. So this is a kind of positional breathing drill, recovery breathing, whatever you want to call it. This is probably the most basic and simple way to do deep breathing, because all you're doing is laying on the floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay prone on the ground, and you're going to take your hands and place them flat against the floor, and you can rest your forehead on your hands. So important to note here, when you lay your legs out, you don't want to go pigeon-toed here. We want to let your legs externally rotate, okay, just to kind of get everything in a little bit more relaxed position. So forehead is against the hands. So the whole goal here is to take what's called a 360-degree breath, or we're essentially filling up this canister, so to speak, of the torso. So the ground gives a lot of good feedback with regard to you taking in the proper amount of air, because you'll feel yourself push against the ground when you take air in. So a lot of us have faulty breathing mechanics, and it's something that you can work on to improve, because it's going to affect everything that you do. So essentially what you want to do is we're going to take in the air first, obviously. So when you take in air, we want to expand all the way around through here. So you should see my low back rising up, and then I should feel my belly pressing against the floor. So I'm going to take in as much air as I can. I'm going to pause for a second or two before I exhale, and then I'm going to exhale, okay? And then once the air is all out, there's another kind of lull period or 1 to 2 second pause before we repeat to the next breath. So you don't want to ever try to rush through your breathing. So we're going to do 4 to 6 breaths. I'm not going to show 4 to 6, but hopefully y'all can see.
Yeah, this feels really good too.
Yeah, it feels very good. hopefully that's, can you see how that, okay. The deep breathing, again, there's numerous ways. We're doing it prone. There's numerous positions that you can do deep breathing, and I've shown a few in the past videos. But the recovery breathing or diaphragmatic, I can't talk, breathing, it's a good way to kind of reset your system. So if you're in a state of higher stress, it's going to help tone that down, so to speak.
Who isn't right now?
Right, exactly. So just the breathing by itself, if that's all you feel like doing at some random point in the day, then by all means do it. It's not going to hurt you. You know, we all have a watch that might cue us to breathe if it senses that our heart rate's a little bit too high. So just kind of having some different ways other than just sitting in your chair to breathe. With the crocodile breathing, I like it because you can kind of close your eyes and tune, like focus this way, and kind of tune everything out to do it. So crocodile breathing is the first of the sequence. Second thing we're going to do is what's called an active isolated stretch. Okay, so this is throwing it way back to the mid 2000s. There was a man named Aaron Mattis that kind of created this system called active isolated stretching. And essentially the concept is that when you go to do a stretch, your body's going to fight it by tensing up, and that kind of counters your goal of lengthening and getting some work that way. So with the active isolated system, essentially what we're doing is we're going to use a band, or you can also manipulate somebody using your hands, but we're obviously not doing that here. But you're going to bring yourself into the stretch position and then further the stretch using the band or manually for a count of 2 as you exhale, and then go back down and relax. So that count of 2 contraction, kind of, so to speak, or not contraction, we're going to contract. You'll see what I'm saying, but basically holding it for the count of 2 with the breathing, it overrides a mechanism that reacts to feeling the stretch. So it's going to let you kind of like game the system.
Hi, Tracy.
What's up?
Tracy Wave.
Oh, Casey Wave. So we're going to take this band. This is an NT Loop from Nick Tuminello. These are great bands. I highly recommend. So you're going to place it around your midfoot. Okay, so the neat thing about this band is that it's got grippy stuff, so it stays in place and it's comfortable to hold. But if you don't have a band at home, you can also use a towel or a jump rope or any sort of resistance band. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the other leg and let's put it in a bent position so that it just takes some pressure off the low back. This leg is locked out, so I've got my quad flexed, I'm pulling my toes to my shin. Okay, it's going to stay like this the whole time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actively raise my leg. I'm not going to pull on this to raise it up. I'm going to raise it using my muscles. And then once I reach a barrier where I feel like I can't go any further, then I'm going to count of 2 as I exhale and then lower it back down. So we're going to use the band to kind of give that little extra stretch at the top. And then just work through it that way. So we're going to do 6 to 10 and then switch sides. So that's the straight leg active isolated stretch. What we're going to do after you do both legs, we're going to move the band to the ball of the foot, and we're going to keep the leg up. So on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to actively contract the calf by pointing the foot, and then do the opposite.
Ooh.
So we're moving into one position, which is plantar flexion, and then we're taking it and then stretching using the band in the opposite, which is dorsiflexion, for that count of 2. So we're going to go 6 to 10 that way. So you should feel some good stretch there. So I've said this before in a video, I'm not going to get into a lengthy discussion of it, but if we're talking about what's called the fascial system, which is essentially if you open a package of chicken breasts and you see like the kind of shiny coating that kind of looks like it's going over the chicken breast.
Like that weird white stuff?
Yeah, so that's analogous to fascia, like that essentially encases like our muscles. And so what happens is throughout the body, what they've discovered is that different muscle groups are connected by fascial chains. So we share, like, there's a fascial chain that essentially goes from the plantar fascia all the way up the calf through the hammy, glute, lumbar, through your occiput, like it's going up and it ends at the eyebrows. So the neat thing about that, I guess my whole point was that if you have tight hamstrings, It could be that your calves are kind of feeding into that, possibly even your the underside of your foot. So tension throughout that fascial chain can be alleviated by just doing maybe even just a little like rolling on a lacrosse ball or a beastie ball with your feet, or stretching your calves out. So back to what we're doing here though. So that was the active isolated calf stretch, 6 to 10 on a side. After that's going to come what I call assisted leg lowering. So all three of these that I've done with the band are going to look similar, but hopefully you can see how they're slightly different. At home too, what you can do on this next one, if you don't want to use a band or a jump rope, you could actually prop your leg up in like a door, with a door facing, and then the moving leg will move through the doorway. So that's another way to do it. But what we're going to do here is we're going to again use the band. It's going to go over the midfoot or arch of the foot, and we're going to take both legs. Okay, so I recommend bringing one leg up with the band and then bringing the other leg to match it. So what you're going to see is that I've got both legs locked out. My knees aren't bending at any point. I'm dorsiflexed, which means toes to the shins. I'm not turning my feet out. Okay, so I can comfortably get to this position. My back's happy and all that. I'm not trying to pull them as close as I can towards my face. I'm trying to get them in this extended position here. Okay, so if you have to go here, that's cool as long as they're locked out. If you're trying to get them closer to you but you're here and you can't extend your knees, then get where you can. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going to have the band holding one leg while the other leg is going to be the working leg. So we're going to lower this working leg towards the floor, press it into the floor for a count of 2, and then come back up. So I'm pushing my heel into the floor and then coming back up. So we're going to cycle through a set of 6 to 10 of these per side. So you'll notice as I lower the leg, this leg doesn't change. Okay, so really easy to do these messy. Okay, but again, like I've said a gazillion times, what's the point in doing it if you're not doing it optimally? Because it's not going to give you the best result. But this is essentially a straight leg kind of patterning drill from the FMS, where we're essentially stabilizing the up leg and then moving the working leg. So it's actually too a kind of low level core stabilization exercise. So that's the assisted leg lowering. We're going to move into what's called a leg lock hip bridge. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do hip bridges. So we're going to do 6 to 10 on a side. So the nifty thing about this variation is that by bringing the leg to the chest, so on any bridge we want to make sure that we're pressing through the entire foot. I've touched on that before. You can do them with toes up if you prefer. I prefer to do them with toes, the whole foot down. I feel like there's more benefit to that. What we're doing here is we're going to take the free leg, tuck it to the chest, and then we're going to press up. So what this does is it's keeping us from using the lumbar spine to kind of fake hip extension. And so the hip extension is all coming from the glute max. Yes, there's other stuff supporting it and all that, so I guess I could say the lumbopelvic hip complex in general. But this is just going to keep you from coming up and hyperextending it at the low back. Okay, so we're going to go 6 to 10 of those. After that, we got 2 more things. So there's 7 things in this sequence. Y'all can go through this once, I would say 1 to 3 times, depending on what you need. If you do, it's not going to hurt you to do like too much of this stuff. Hey, Bubba. So we're going to do some half kneeling
split
rotation.
it up throughout the day, right?
Yeah, you can sprinkle it in however you want. You'll see how I kind of flow from the breathing and like stuff on the ground to a standing exercise towards the end. So it's kind of neat because we're moving from transitional positions. For those of y'all that are nerds out there, we're prone, we're going face up, we're going into a more dynamic single leg pattern here. We're going to go to kneeling, and make it again more of a single side, and then single side standing. So we're kind of moving from easier to more challenging. So in half kneeling, what this position means is that we're going to get here. Okay, I'm going to show it on this side because this side feels better. So half kneeling position, we want to make sure that we plant the toes of the back foot. Yes, you could go here. I prefer grabbing the ground with the toes on this back foot as well as this front foot too. Like just having the ability to stabilize that way. But we're pretty much looking for 90-degree angles. You can kind of see everywhere is 90 degrees. So the key here is that we want to have our weight, we're not really putting it on this front foot. It's going more down through this femur. Okay, so I've got my glute, you know, activated for those of you that like that word, but I'm just firing it. I'm feeling a stretch in this front part of the thigh. This is going to go across my shoulders just as if you were back squatting. And what we're doing here, so we can move this foot closer if we needed to, where we're more of a tightrope, or we can move it out. You're not going to go way out. I would say in line with the hip. So start there. But what we're doing here is we're doing 4 to 6 on a side. We're going to essentially take a breath in, and then as you exhale, we're rotating. Once you breathe all your air in, come back, kind of reset. So I'm trying to stay as stable as possible. You'll notice I'm not doing any of this crazy stuff. I'm staying tall. And rotating. So the neat thing is that as you rotate, we're getting a little bit different kind of effect through mobilizing this anterior hip on the downside by moving through what's called the transverse plane, which is essentially rotation. So y'all are going to do 4 to 6 on a side there, and then the last nugget of the day is going to be a dowel, single leg or one leg hip hinge. So if you don't have a PVC at home, you could use a broom or a Swiffer handle, whatever. But what we're doing here is y'all are going to stand on one leg, or hands are going to basically be here. Okay, so if my right arm is up, my left arm is down, I've got one hand behind my neck, and the other hand is in my low back. So you can see how this is making contact with my sacrum, which is tailbone, between my shoulder blades and then the back of my head, okay? So you want to keep those 3 points of contact the whole time. So I'm going to have to show you all my bad side. We'll see how this goes. So what we're looking to do is to keep those 3 points of contact. We're going to slide into the knee, we're sitting back in the hip, and then coming back up. So I'm controlling it. Okay, if you look at my back foot, or the foot that's coming up, I'm keeping my toes towards the floor. So my hips are pointing towards the floor the whole time. I'm not rotating this way. Okay, that's a common fault. People want to take this leg and go kind of here, but you really want to keep everything squared away with the ground the whole time.
What if you could only come up a little bit?
So that's a good question. I would work with the range of motion that you can control.
Like as long as you're in that straight
Exactly.
line.
Like work with, I mean, because this is a balance exercise. Like your body's having to do there's a lot going on. And then also too, if possible, I would say do this without shoes, because you're going to get a lot more benefit by having that foot in contact with the ground versus having a shoe, even a sock, kind of blunting the ability of the foot to sense what's going on. So do these barefoot. You can do all these barefoot. You're at home, you know. So 6 to 8 on a side with those, and then if y'all felt like doing another round, y'all could. But like I said, 1 to 3 rounds of that. Y'all should feel, you know, a little bit like y'all can move a little bit better. Y'all should feel a little bit more relaxed. Like I said, nothing out of this sequence should have any sort of negative effect whatsoever. It's all good stuff. So,
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, being nice to your hips.
Yes, happy hips.
You want me to pan over here?
Yeah, pan over there. Catch that for a second. And like I said, we'll be releasing that program. It should be this coming week, but I'll make sure to put it out there because I had a lot of people reply to the post that I had. So I apologize that the link didn't work, but this will be even better. So
Yay.
I'm having to like do a lot more work to get it out there, but that's okay. I like work. So thank y'all
what
for
else are we
tuning in.
doing?
Yeah. I mean, what else do we have to do, right?
Come on, Bo.
Oh yeah, Bobo. Come here. Come here. Oh.
The Daily Bobo.
The Daily Bobins. Making everyone's lives better since 2014.
Say, take care of your hips, guys. Two-leggeds.
All right, we'll catch y'all later.